Want to get the scoop on real cutting-edge scientific research directly from the source? Today, I'm going to show you how to get the details of new scientific discoveries directly from the researchers' mouths. Stay tuned. Hey there, welcome to Science is You. This is a growing channel dedicated to making real biotechnology and biomedical research accessible for everyone. To support this mission, please subscribe and spread the word. Thanks for watching. Scientific discoveries are abundant in the media, but the actual research behind them appears to take place behind closed doors. This can lead to a lot of questions of what really goes on and distrust of science. But one of the key tenets of science is communication of results. One main route of scientific communication is through writing scientific papers that are published in academic journals. In scientific papers, researchers report their data, analysis, and interpretations in their own words. But where do we find scientific papers? We could try to search for them using Google, but there's a better way. Google has a special database just for scientific and academic papers, scholar.google.com. Here, you can type in keywords and academic writings will come up, like scientific papers. Now, we just have to decide what we're looking for. According to the NSF, as of 2020, nearly 3 million scientific papers were being published per year. That's over 5 papers per minute. That adds up to a ton of scientific research papers out there. So if we want to look up a scientific paper, it's important to know what we're looking for, specifically what topic. If we type in just a general topic like stem cells, we'll get a lot of information. Some topics will have a lot more written on them than others, but it's usually not enough to just have a topic. It's helpful to also pick a subtopic. Let's say cancer. Stem cells and cancer. But that's also a really big field with a lot of research papers written on it. So we picked a topic and a subtopic, but how can we narrow it down even further? Let's be more specific about what discoveries or experiments we're interested in seeing. For example, are we interested in seeing therapeutics, clinical trials, medications, drug-related advancements, genetic engineering? Let's look at genetic engineering. Stem cells and cancer genetic engineering. Better, but still a lot to sift through. Let's add in some adjectives for our topic and subtopic. Let's take cancer. There are many different types of cancer. Breast cancer, leukemia, cancers of the head and neck. Let's look for breast cancer. And while we're at it, stem cells. Let's try to be even more specific if we can. Are we interested in, say, using stem cells as therapeutics, reactivating stem cells in the body, attacking stem cells associated with cancer? Let's try therapeutics, therapeutic stem cells. So our key phrase is now therapeutic stem cells in breast cancer genetic engineering. That's a pretty specific topic, and it looks like we're getting some more specific papers that are relevant to our query. We still have a lot of hits, but usually the most relevant results will be on the first few pages, like with any Google search. But if we've still got a pretty long list, there's another way we can narrow things down. We can specify how long ago the paper was published. We can do this by filtering by year. Let's say we want to look at the most recent hot-off-the-press studies. We can limit to this year. Or if that's too strict and there just haven't been that many studies published since this year began, we can say from last year until present. Or we can look at the past 5 years, or 10 years. Or if we're interested in seeing how studies published in the 1990s look different from today, we can set a specific date range. Now, when going through this list of papers, there's something you need to be aware of. There are 2 main types of scientific writings, primary literature and reviews. Primary literature is where researchers have reported on their actual research findings directly. Reviews are also written by people in scientific fields, but they didn't actually collect any data themselves. These are summaries and discussions of data and studies that other researchers have published in a specific topic area. There's a simple way to tell whether you're looking at a review versus primary data. Primary literature will contain figures of actual data. A review might contain some pictures or diagrams, but there usually aren't any graphs, microscope images, or numerical data collected. Also, somewhere in there, it will say it's a review. Now, reviews, although they are a report on scientific studies and not directly from the researchers who performed the experiments, can still be valuable. First, they provide a lot of background info on a topic and can serve as a great introduction to a topic to see if you're really interested in reading more about it, or if you want to adjust your search. Also, they are full of references, which contain the info on published studies and your topic of interest. That's another way to get a hold of research papers. Look at the references list. Ideally, a good review article will reference almost exclusively primary research data. After all, if reviews just reference other reviews, then it's more just like a discussion of other people's discussions. Go down the references list and note any articles that look especially interesting to you. Or as you read the review paper, generally there will be a sentence or so summarizing the main findings of the primary data paper that they're referencing. So you can decide from there if that's a study you want to look up to get all the details. But there's another way you can explore scientific literature as well. Did you know you can start doing your own research from home, without a lab or any special equipment? The first part of any research project before any experiments are started or even planned out is picking a topic you're interested in and seeing what is known about it and what questions are left unanswered. A fun way to go about this is to brainstorm a couple of things from totally different topic areas, things that maybe you're curious about whether there could be a relation between them. Like, say you're interested in antibiotic-resistant infection and also love plants. We can come up with a list of plant-associated keywords and pair them with antibiotic-resistant infection to come up with some creative key phrases, then see what papers come up. Now, we've got some research papers to read, but scientific papers themselves can be a little overwhelming. That's because they're packed with terminology and jargon. But you don't have to be a scientist or have spent years studying to understand the main points of a research paper. In this video, I share some secrets on how you can get the most out of a scientific paper, whether you're starting out your scientific career or just interested in science. But one important note, please remember that scientific papers don't take the place of actual medical advice. Of course, the goal of biotechnology research is to discover ways to reduce suffering and improve health outcomes. And collectively, biomedical research is ultimately used over time to lead and guide advances in healthcare. This is a big reason why I feel strongly that everyone, regardless of whether or not you're a scientist, should feel capable of accessing, understanding, and even contributing to research. But individual scientific studies are usually designed to answer a specific question in a carefully controlled setting. With research papers, we need to read with an eye for what questions were addressed and what the limitations of the study were, and what questions were unanswered. As a final note, unfortunately, not all scientific papers you find will be freely available. Many are open access and can be viewed freely by anyone. Usually, if there's a PDF link on the side next to the paper results that come up on Google Scholar, that means it's free to access. But disappointingly, sometimes the scientific journals that research papers are published in require payment to view some articles. And not a trivial payment. If you're part of a school or university, often you can still access these papers for free through your institution. But this paywall can be an unfortunate barrier to communicating scientific research, and brings up some ethical issues since research is often funded through government grants, i.e. taxpayers, and research in general, even if small steps, could lead to advancements that affect, well, everyone. Hopefully, though, this is a barrier that we will someday be able to eliminate. What were some of the key phrases in scientific papers you came up with? Drop them in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share to help this channel out, and remember,